I want to quickly read you something. Change is hard. Look at change rates for people with heart issues who are told by their doctors that they are at risk of dying if they don't change their habits. These patients know exactly what they need to do. Yet even when people's very lives are on the line, only 1 out of every 7 patients is able to make the change. I've been spending the morning prepping for keynotes and workshops and at the same time updating them with some new research. But the one thing that I've just been stuck on today is the price that we pay when we don't make the changes that we need to make in our lives. And for the sake of this video, let's quickly categorize change into 2 categories. One would be the changes that we want to make in our lives, and the second would be changes that we need to make in our lives. So in the first category, you have the things that we want to change. So these are the aspirational changes, the things you might sit down and think about at the start of the year. This would be, I want to lose weight, or I want to be better in my relationships, or I want to achieve a certain level of success. These things are all about who you are becoming. And to be honest, if we don't make these changes, what we really end up losing is potential. That you could have been this, but now you are that. But the world doesn't come to an end. It's sad that we don't live into our full potential, but your world doesn't stop. So in some ways, we can kind of manage not making the changes in this category. But in the second category, we have the changes that we need to make. This is when there are going to be dire consequences for not making the changes. This is when you are at risk of heart disease, but you don't change your lifestyle, which might lead to the heart attack. This is when the technological landscape is changing, and if your business doesn't adapt to that, you might find that you've become irrelevant. And what we would think is that when there's that urgency, when it's clear that if you don't change, it's going to be catastrophe, you'd think that that urgency would lead to intensity, but it doesn't. And we've just seen this, we've just spoken about this, that study that I referenced, that even when people have everything to lose, their lives are on the line, only 1 in 7 patients made the changes they needed to make in order to avoid catastrophe. So that's 14% of people. And so the realization is that change is really a game of playing the odds. That we have lots of changes that need to happen in our lives, and the more of them we can push through, the better. The higher our strike rate, our percentage rate of making changes, the better our lives become. And I say this in all my keynotes, that change isn't just a skill to master, it is the master's skill. It is the thing that helps us to build better lives, better relationships, better versions of ourselves, better teams, better businesses. And so I guess my message for you just today is to stay in the rhythm of change, is to really think about what can you do to make sure that change happens, both in the aspirational category as well as in the category of if you don't make these changes, bad things are going to happen. And just keep in mind that sometimes the change might start over here, but then find itself slowly drifting over to the other side. So for example, you might go, well, I want to make certain changes in my business because of artificial intelligence, and it's this aspirational thing for us to work towards. But then you don't make those changes, and you don't make those changes because there are more important things and there are fires to put out, and you are being reactive. And eventually, it becomes quite urgent that you now need to start making certain changes because the world has changed dramatically. And if you still don't heed the warnings, if you still don't make those changes, you end up in catastrophe. And it's the last place that you want to be. We don't want to make changes because the world has come tumbling down upon us. So stay flexible, stay malleable, but most importantly, really work on increasing your success rate in pushing through the amount of change that you are working on.